Over the years, there have been many records of ghosts who still seek revenge for the injustice of what happened in the ending of their life, especially if their life ended prematurely at the hands of their perpetrator, where these restless spirits still seek justice and on many occasions will either haunt the environment where they were murdered or haunt the individual who brought about their early demise. The following are 10 criminals who were haunted by their victims' ghosts. Number 10. Mark Bridger. Mark Bridger was a man known to spend his days drinking and watching indecent videos and images of young children. One evening in 2012, Bridger decided to act on his impulses and drove around trying to find a young girl. Unfortunately, he stumbled across a 5-year-old April Jones, who after approaching Bridger's car, disappeared. The following day, the police arrested Bridger, where he admitted that he had killed April Jones by accident. Bridger stated that he had accidentally hit April with his car and so decided to place her body in his car before calling for help. However, police weren't falling for his story, as Bridger's memory was a blur due to alcohol consumption, and he also claimed that he did not know where her body was. A forensic expert found fragments of April Jones' DNA in Bridger's house, and police rejected his original story. They believe Bridger assaulted the child before taking her life and discarding her remains. Bridger was found guilty and was sentenced to life in prison. A fellow inmate states that Bridger sees tortured visions of April Jones and says that a ghost regularly appears in their cell at night. Number 9. Jose Ferreira. In 1982, when Jose Ferreira was 17, he went to a party where he met 13-year-old Carrie-Ann Jopek. The two shared a joint when she asked him to come down to the basement. As the two walked down the stairs, Carrie had second thoughts and told Ferreira, "I don't know if this is a good idea." Ferreira responded, "You're going downstairs," and he pushed the girl down the steps. Ferreira saw the young girl's limp body before realizing she'd broken her neck. However, this didn't stop Jose from having his way with her. Jose then snuck her body out of the house and buried it under the neighbor's porch. After 17 months, the body was discovered. However, police were left baffled and had no leads. The case remained unsolved for years. However, all during this time, Jose was being haunted by Carrie's spirit. So much so that after 3 decades, he went to the police and confessed to her murder. Number 8. R. Fong. In 1999 in Hong Kong, 3 members of a secret child gang society, including 3 men and a teenage girl, captured a young woman by the name of Fan Mang Yi, claiming she owed them $20,000. The men spent a whole month tormenting Fan Mang Yi before she eventually died from her injuries. Mysteriously, the young teenage girl who had helped in the crime started suffering from terrible nightmares and stated that she kept seeing Fan Mang Yi's ghost. The teenager was so traumatized by the haunting that she called the police and reported the crime. At first, the police didn't believe her and assumed the teenager's girl was delusional. They decided to check out the place where the teenager stated the crime took place and discovered the remains of her body. The gang members were quickly arrested and the teenage girl testified in exchange for immunity. The 3 men were found guilty of manslaughter and were sentenced to life in prison. Number 7. Victor Amawuga. In 2013, Victor Amawuga hired a taxi driver to take him on a long journey. However, halfway through his ride, Victor Amawuga shot the driver and drove off in a taxi. Victor soon repeated this attack by shooting another taxi driver, and a manhunt was quickly underway. Victor went on the run from authorities when he started being haunted and attacked by one of his victims' ghosts. Ghosts would constantly appear in his dreams and even started slapping him while he slept, leading to many sleepless nights. The events became so unbearable that Victor Amawuga eventually told a friend about what he'd done. His friend quickly called police and Victor Amawuga was arrested. Victor confessed to the murders and even expressed remorse for his actions. Victor even started advising other inmates to change their lifestyles in order to avoid being haunted by the victims' ghosts. Number 6. Al Capone. On February the 14th, 1929, Al Capone masterminded a plan to execute 7 associates of the Northside Gang, which included a man named James Clark. Al Capone was the leader of the rival Southside Gang, and the massacres weren't solved for months. Eventually, Capone was arrested and jailed for tax evasion, and the police guards would often hear blood-curdling screams from Capone shouting for James Clark to leave him alone. The ghost of Clark even followed Capone after he left prison, and the hauntings became so bad that he even hired a medium to get rid of Clark's ghost. In later life, Al Capone's bodyguards would often hear him begging someone to leave him alone. Upon entering the room, however, Capone would always be alone. Capone stated many times to his bodyguards that he was haunted by the ghost of James Clark. Number 5. Bhim Shankarjiri. Bhim Shankarjiri was a married man who became angry when his brother would not stop harassing his wife. After asking his brother countless times to stop, Bhim's hatred towards him grew so much that he decided to end his brother's life. One night, Bhim lured his drunk brother into a secluded area before murdering him and hiding his body. His brother was quickly reported missing by their family. Disturbingly, 1 week later, Bhim started hearing his brother's voice, saying that he was going to haunt him and give him sleepless nights for the rest of his life. He began dreaming of his brother, choking him, and finally it all became too much for Bhim, who quickly confessed to his family and the police and was arrested for his crime. Number 4. John Nakuna. In South Africa in 2002, John Nakuna and 2 friends kidnapped Fabro Baloyi. They tied the lawyer up with pieces of cloth and then beat him up. Nakuna and his friends doused the lawyer with gasoline and set him on fire. Baloyi's charred remains were later found by a cattle herder who called the police. Nakuna fled to another city to escape charges. However, he was soon haunted by Baloyi's ghost, where he heard his voice every night saying, "Just tell my family that you are the one who murdered me, and you'll start sleeping in peace, or you'll follow me." Kuna was terrified, and he went to the Baloyi family to confess to the murder. The Kuna and his friends were arrested. The charges were later withdrawn. He pleaded not guilty in court, though the court used his confessions to get a conviction. The Kuna was sentenced to 15 years in prison. Number 3. Adrian Dow. In 2010, a woman named Jennifer Stewart was murdered one night in a parking lot in Ottawa, Canada. For 3 years, her crime was left unsolved, and no leads were ever found until one day, a man named Adrian Dow confessed to the police. Police were very skeptical about his confession, as a few of his statements did not fit the crime, but there were a few points that were eerily accurate. When the police told him to reenact the crime, his motions were matched. Bizarrely, Dow told them he ended Jennifer's life in order to launch his music career, stating, "If I kill someone, I'd be a really good rapper, because people talk about killer stuff." Adrian said that after the incident, he would regularly see Jennifer's ghost multiple times a day, flying over him. Number 2. Daniel French. In 2012, Daniel French decided to rob a house in a retirement village because he wanted easy money. Posing as a maintenance worker, he entered the home of 87-year-old Barbara Howe before taking her life. He hid her body and rifled through her belongings and stole $18 and a diamond ring, which he later discarded out of the car window. Howe's murder went unsolved for 2 years until police managed to piece together evidence that led to David French. After questioning, David eventually confessed to the murder. David apologized for the woman's death and said, "I see Miss Howe's ghost and I apologized. I feel terrible." Number 1. Terry Childs. In 1987, Terry Childs stabbed teenager Lois Segala, ending her life. Childs was convicted of murder and sentenced to 41 years in prison. While in prison, he confessed to more murders, which included sickening acts of violence. Childs stated he had to confess to the murder in order to free himself from his demons. He said he was being haunted by the ghosts of his victims and regularly saw them in his cell, staring at them, eating up his prey. After he confessed to all of his crimes, the ghost disappeared. Charles' confessions had increased his prison sentence